Peace be with you, everyone. Welcome to my channel. My name is Trevor. Really grateful to have you here. And today's video is a tag video. I'm responding to a tag from my brother Dedrick L. Hicks Jr. Go check his channel out. I'm going to link him in the description below. And the tag is to select one fragrance from each of the designer houses. I selected 10 designer houses. I had about 13 originally, but I narrowed it down to a top 10. So select one fragrance from each of those houses that you would keep and get rid of the rest. So I think I've got, let's see, Chanel, Dior, Cartier, Hermes, Givenchy, Tom Ford, Prada, Gergio, Armani, Guerlain, and Gucci are the 10 houses that I rounded up here. So without further ado, I'm going to get right into the list here, starting off with the house of Chanel. I'm going to go with Bleu de Chanel Eau de Toilette. Timeless classic, just the epitome of what a man's cologne should smell like, in my opinion. Nice, refreshing citruses. There's some ginger that livens things up a bit, and some incense and some spicy and woody aspects to it. Just a well-rounded fragrance, which is what the blue genre of fragrances is meant to do. Gives off a kind of refreshing, out of the shower gel kind of scent profile, but done with, you know, like a very high level of natural smelling ingredients in here. There's a reason that the blue genre of fragrances are the most popular, most mass appealing. They're just the most well balanced, and this is the king of that genre, the originator and shaper of that scent profile. So yeah, definitely going to be holding on to this one if I had to let go of the rest of my Chanel designer releases. Unfortunately, I only own the Eau de Toilette right now, but I do have the Parfum en route in the mail currently, and I'm sure that probably would be my pick. But the Bleu de Chanel DNA is what I would hold on to from the house of Chanel. Now, from the house of Dior, this one was difficult for me. I wanted to pick Dior Homme Parfum because it's technically my favorite scent in terms of just pure scent profile. However, if I had to keep only one from the house of Dior, I'm gonna go with Dior Eau Sauvage Parfum. This is the 2012 vintage version. You can tell by the black label here. The newer version, the 2017 version, has a silver label. The only reason I'm holding on to this one over Dior Homme Parfum is because this is the fragrance that I wore in the delivery room when my daughter was born, so I've got a sentimental attachment to it. It's also, even though Dior Homme Parfum is difficult to find and is expensive, this is more difficult to find and more expensive because it has been discontinued for longer. Whereas Dior Homme Parfum is still available for sale at retail in in Europe and the UAE. But yeah, so from the house of Dior, this is Eau Sauvage Parfum. Very nice, beautiful, elegant, sort of barbershop-y lavender, a really nice resinous myrrh, which was taken out in the newer formulations, and like a citrus that keeps it kind of tied to the original DNA. Just a absolute stunning cold weather fragrance. That's Eau Sauvage Parfum, the 2012 version, for the house of Dior. Next, going with the house of Gucci, this is Gucci Nobile, a discontinued fragrance, aromatic fougere, very nice kind of shaving foam style barbershop freshness with a nice outdoorsy, woodsy, masculine kind of vibe from a heavy oak moss and a fir balsam as well. Just my favorite barbershop shaving cream style fragrance that I've gotten my nose on. It just has like that classic 80s powerhouse sort of masculine edge to it, but it stays modern in its kind of green, fresh shaving foam, semi-sweet quality as well. Just exceptional stuff, difficult to find, very expensive if you do find it, but my favorite from the house of Gucci that I own, that's Gucci Nobile. Next, we have from the house of Prada, this is Prada Infusion de Iris Cedre. This is kind of like Prada L'Homme if you take out all of the powdery sweetness. So it's just like a nice, clean, brisk, cold, and I don't want to say like bitter, but there's not really any sweetness in here. It's just like a nice, clean, kind of creamy soap, just a hotel soap isolate is kind of what you get here. There is a cedar that comes out in the deep dry down that's very beautiful. It reminds me of the same quality cedar that I get in Creed's Royal Oud. But overall, yeah, just a lot less of a sweet, you know, no ambery density in this one as compared to Prada L'Homme, but it keeps that same signature Prada hotel soap DNA. And yeah, this is just my favorite just because it's a little bit more, it just doesn't have that added thick sweetness that can be a little bit cloying and suffocating at times with Prada L'Homme. And even with Prada L'Homme Bleu, I've got that one as well, and this one is even more, you know, light and airy, which is something that I really enjoy about this, just because it is a, you know, wearing a soapy fragrance is a time where I would enjoy having something a little bit more light and airy. So that's Prada Infusion d'Iris Cedre. This is what I would keep from the house of Prada. Okay, next, Giorgio Armani. Another one I've got a sentimental value attachment tied to, is what I wore on my wedding day. This is Acqua Profumo, and I probably would keep this one even if I didn't have the sentimental attachment tied to it. It is such a great offering, unfortunately discontinued, but still able to find it at the moment. I haven't tried anything that they've released since they've done a redo of their bottle design, but this is a very nice marine aquatic with some herbal touches from some rosemary and a nice incense to kind of darken it up and make it a little bit sexy and mysterious. One of the best freshies ever, just because it does have that little bit of a darkness to it, but it still maintains this just very refreshing, brisk marine accord. Yeah, just absolute stunning juice. One of the best fragrances ever made, point blank period, and definitely happy to hold on to this one from the house of Giorgio Armani. Okay, next from the house of Givenchy, going with Givenchy Gentleman Cologne. Another one that's been discontinued, sadly, but very nice petitgrain, musk, and citrus. And then a signature iris that this gentleman line is known for. The iris in here is very kind of green or ripe, I want to say. Or like white iris. Reminds me a little bit of the iris that they use in the women's version of Infusion d'Iris, the kind of one that you get in here. But yeah, this is just a very nice, refreshing, crisp, clean, perfect high heat sort of fragrance, and my favorite from the Gentleman line, even though the rest of them are very nice, beautiful, rich, dense, sweet, makeup-y iris that kind of is nothing like this one. This one just kind of stands out because it is just such a good high heat fragrance, and I also have a little bit of a sentimental attachment tied to this one. I wore it on my honeymoon that I went on with my wife in Arizona. So that is Givenchy Gentleman Cologne, the one I would be keeping from the house of Givenchy. Okay, next, Hermes, going with the classic Terre d'Hermes Eau de Toilette, still my favorite from the house. I have been enjoying Un Jardin and Mediterranee from them recently. H24 is great, both the EDT and the EDP. Eau Givray, I've been enjoying that one as well, but still Terre d'Hermes Eau de Toilette, the original masterpiece, is my go-to from them. I still need to try Eau Intense Vetiver, Eau Trace Fraîche. There's a lot of the House of Hermes that I haven't explored, Bellamy Vetiver and Bellamy, vintage versions of those fragrances. A lot of stuff on my, horizon, but from what I have in my current collection, the Eau de Toilette Terre d'Hermes, beautiful, sweet, woody, powdery woods with a little bit of a touch of sweetness and a nice, refreshing orange with a hint of dirty earthiness. That dirty earthiness can be off-putting, especially to newer noses, but as somebody who's matured a little bit in the fragrance game, this one is just something that I could not let go of from the collection. So that's Terre d'Hermes Eau de Toilette from Hermes. Okay, 3 houses left. Tom Ford going with Ombre Leather Parfum. Easily could have gone with the regular eau de parfum of this fragrance, but there is iris and violet in here that make this a little bit more wearable and versatile for me. The iris adds a nice kind of powdery touch that rounds out the rough, sort of abrasive boldness of the leather that's in here, and then there's a violet leaf that gives it a little bit of a more ozonic, watery touch that makes it a little bit more wearable in slightly warmer situations. So I'm going with this one. A lot of great offerings from Tom Ford's designer line that I could have gone with. Costa Azura Parfum is something that I've really been enjoying. Grey Vetiver is great, and so is Beau de Jour, but Ombre Leather Parfum is what I would hold on to from Tom Ford if I could only keep one. And next, another discontinued, hard to find fragrance from the house of Cartier. Another very difficult decision. I really wanted to go with Declaration Parfum. That one is beautiful. Pacha de Cartier Parfum, another great offering from Cartier. L'Envol, another great offering from Cartier, but I decided to go with this one to maintain a nice rose fragrance in my designer lineup here, and that is Declaration d'un Soir Intense. So it takes the nice kind of culinary spicy rose that you get in the original Declaration d'un Soir, if you're familiar, and then kind of takes the rose and moves it from being simply fresh and dewy, but then keeps that same profile while adding an additional jammy rose quality to it. So this is just such a beautiful symphony of so many nice nuances of spicy and savory and sweet and refreshing and dewy. Really complex fragrance. I've got nothing in my collection that comes close to smelling like this, and yeah, I'm almost left speechless for my description of this. I was really lucky to get this. It's even after it had been discontinued, I got a really good deal on this, like $65 or so. I think it's going like above $200 at the moment. You'd have to do some due diligence to find out if it's worth that price for you, or if you want to kind of keep your eye out on the hunt like I did. But yeah, from the house of Cartier, very difficult house for me to narrow one down, but Declaration d'un Soir Intense is my selection. And last but not least, the house of Guerlain, one of my favorite designer houses. Some consider it a niche house, but the price range and everything considered, I would consider this a designer, and for them I'm going to keep Vetiver, Guerlain's Vetiver, a timeless classic in my opinion. Very nice, grown up and sophisticated. It does have a mature vibe that could be off-putting, but I don't think it is. I don't want to say it's off-putting, but it's one of those fragrances that could wear you if you don't wear it. It will command respect if you are somebody that can pull it off, but it will just smell out of place if you're somebody that's not really ready to rock it, I guess you could say. But what you get here is a nice creamy soapy vetiver, and then some interesting darkness and richness that kind of is the aspect to it that is you know, difficult to pull off, and that's from myrrh and tobacco. So you've got this interesting dark quality to this otherwise very bright and refreshing soapy vetiver. Just, yeah, absolutely stunning juice, and something that you could easily wear year-round because it's got those dark, rich qualities from myrrh and tobacco, and then the bright, effervescent qualities from the vetiver and some citruses up at the top. So that is my final pick from these 10 Guerlain's Vetiver. And once again, thank you, Dedrick, for tagging me. This was a really fun and difficult list to come up with. So I'm going to go ahead and tag some of the other guys. I'm sure most of the people in my watch list have already been tagged. Let's go with Paul at 50 cents. Would love to see some of your top designer picks. Pete at Fun with Fragrances. Would love to see what fragrances from designer houses you would hold on to. And let's go with Dr. Magnificent. I'm going to tag you as well and see what kind of designer picks that you would be holding on to. So Otherwise, I'm going to leave this as an open tag, and anybody else that is got a channel, feel free to go ahead and jump in on this one. As always, really appreciate you sticking with me to the end of the video. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.